Welcome to Boom Shot, the show where we take a look at film, photography, and the business behind the scenes. I'm your host, Garrett Ray, and today we're talking about how to get audio that sounds like this instead of audio that sounds like this. Many in the film industry say that audio is 50% or more of your film. Now for us visual creative types, that may sound a bit nuts, but there's actually a lot of truth to it. People are more likely to switch away from your film because of bad audio than they are because of less than stellar camera work. To prove my point, here's a couple of examples of audio that will have your audience running away faster than a herd of wildebeest through a canyon. This is what happens if you record audio next to a fan. This is what happens when you record sound next to a microwave with the camera's onboard microphone. This is what happens if you don't check your audio levels before you record. So here are a few things that you can do to improve your audio. First, work on the area you're actually recording in. You can use sound blankets, moving blankets, or even regular blankets to cover hard surfaces. Sound is like light. It's going to reflect off the surfaces around the source. The harder a surface is, the more reflection you get, and that creates an echoey sound. And that echo is very difficult and frustrating to deal with in post. So the best course of action is just to go in and make sure you have soft surfaces wherever you can and eliminate this while you're shooting. Hardwood floors especially can benefit from a few well-placed sound blankets. Second tip, don't use the on-camera audio. A lot of beginner filmmakers are using DSLRs like a GH4 or an A7S, and they're getting great footage, but they're relying on the on-camera microphone, and while those are great for using as a scratch track to sync up to later, they sound terrible. Having a separate audio solution is super important. On most of our shoots, we use a Rode NTG3 on a boom pole. This is a shotgun microphone that we can run into a separate recorder, like a Zoom H6 or a Tascam DR60D Mark II, which is what we use most of the time. Since our main camera is the Canon C100, we can actually run our microphone directly into the camera if we need to. It has built-in fan-powered XLR inputs on the handle, so we can have our audio synced up directly out of the camera. That said, on most shoots, you want to have a separate recorder, something that has better preamps and more compression options for people who get too loud all of a sudden. On the Tascam DR60D Mark II and lots of other recorders, you have the option to run a safety track at 12 decibels lower than your main track. This is great if you don't know if someone's going to scream something, and you can avoid clipping by having this track going. Clipping is when your recorder gets a signal that's way too hot for it to handle and the amplifiers get overloaded. Clipping sounds like this! And it basically just means you get a whole bunch of distortion in your audio file. In order to avoid that, you can set that safety track and make sure that you know what's going on before you actually roll the take. For the best results, you want to try and keep your subject's voice around -6 decibels in your recorder. You get the best results that way. The further away you get from your talent, the more bass tones you're going to lose in their voice. As an example, I'm going to have Katie start moving away from me right now, and you can hear how the audio changes because she's moved further away from me. Now, if she moves back in, you can hear how the audio is changing again, and we're getting that more full, deep sound. This is why we use a boom pole. You put your microphone on the end of a boom pole and get it out over the scene as close to your talent as possible. If you can't use a boom pole because it's too wide of a shot or because you just don't have one, you can also use lavalier microphones attached to your talent. This will give you that close sound that you're needing. Another thing to remember about shotgun microphones like the NTG3 is that you need to point it at what you want to record. They're very directional microphones, which means they pick up sound from the direction they're pointed. As an example, I'm going to have Katie bring the microphone down into frame here, and you can see, while she's pointed more at me, that it's picking up that full dynamic sound. But if she rotates it away from me, we lose a lot of the audio because it's not picking up things from the side of the microphone. Now, if she turns it back towards me, we get that full dynamic sound again, and everything is good. So just remember to point your audio device at what you want to record. Another great thing about using a shotgun microphone is that you can use a blimp. A blimp is basically a windscreen for your microphone. You put it on there and you can cut down wind noise a whole bunch. As an added bonus, if you have a dead cat, you can put that over the blimp and then you have even more wind noise reduction. When you get your audio into your editor, you can use the tools that are available there to make your audio sound even better. You can use compression to even out a lot of your audio levels while using an equalizer to sweeten up your voices. You can also use limiters to keep your audio from going over a certain threshold. When you do have the chance to have a dedicated audio person on set, that is always the best option to go with. Find someone who's willing to run audio for your films. Having someone who's there and can make sure they're monitoring the audio levels throughout every take and making adjustments as needed is going to beat any type of automatic process that any recorder does, bar none. So if you can have someone who's there and on the ball, definitely get that. Whether you like audio or not, there's really no way around the fact that you need to get good sound. People will ignore your film no matter how great the story is if you can't get good enough audio that they enjoy listening to it. So I hope you take these tips and go get better audio for your film starting right now. Thanks for joining us here on Boomshot. We'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for joining us here on Boomshot. If you like what we're doing, hit that like button and subscribe to us so you don't miss a thing. We don't just do this show. We also have a podcast called Roll Sound, and we post our music videos, short films, and other projects here on this channel. So make sure you don't miss anything and hit subscribe. Also, there's videos over here. Click on those. You're the coolest. Bye.